Hey guys, we're back with the next episode of Sryth, our fantasy text-based RPG. We are doing the Proving Grounds 4, which is about the Troll Hunter. In efforts to learn Troll Bond, which is another form of weaponry. You can only get it from this Proving Grounds, just like you could only get Shadow Magic from Proving Grounds 5. And then we'll only have one skill left to learn before we know everything. So last time we've left the town we were staying at, and we went to Dragon Eye Wood, where I was left alone to get some water, and then was attacked by like 7 or 8 trolls. And then Tambar comes to kill the last one and thinks he's done something. But I'm gonna keep going. I'm finishing part 3. I didn't know how long it would be, so I ended that episode a little bit early. So let's get going. Thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. Let's go. Minstrels. Minstrels. You drift into a deep, much-needed sleep next to the fire, hoping that a few solid hours of rest will help remove the weariness that plagued you over the last handful of days. It's just past midnight with the shouts of 2 watchmen enter your dreams, and you're roughly roused by Tanvar. "To arms!" cries Jurik, drawing his sword and rushing toward the road, where a large group of men on horseback are apparently in the midst of attempting to make off with the company's horses. Springing to your feet, you sprint toward the erupting fray, running shoulder to shoulder with Tanvar. When you reach the road, the two of you find yourself confronted by 4 men on horseback. The men ride straight at you, striking out from the saddle with their long blades. Tanvar moves to engage the 2 on the left, leaving the others to you. The 2 horsemen spur their steeds forward as quickly as they bear down upon you. Well, I don't want to kill the horses, so horsemanship. You dodge blows from both the horsemen as they ride past, and then, much to their surprise, leap up and swing onto the back of the horse of the rider on the right. The man turns and with a great display of strength throws you from the horse, but you manage to take hold of his arm and drag him from the saddle as you fall. Landing the road on top of the man and move to strike him before he can regain his feet, but he does not make any attempt to get up. He broke his neck in the fall and died instantly. Whew. Dang. The remaining horseman is quickly upon you, slashing at you from the saddles of his steed as his steed slowly encircles you. Or he's dead. You step around the riderless horse with the dead men and discover that Tampa has also dispatched the 2 men that attacked him. He steps clear of their bodies and joins you in the center of the road as a broad grin spreads across his face. "These have got to be the most foolhardy horse thieves I've ever seen." He laughs. "A dozen of them braving a camp of 20 armed men? Hard to imagine if I hadn't seen it. Well, now we see just what comes of it. The would-be horse thieves have been routed. 8 of their number lie dead on the road, while the remaining 4 take flight, riding wildly off into the night. Not a single man in your company has been killed. Jurik sends 5 of his men in pursuit, but they return only a short while later before the men enter the forest to evade him. Trolls will have them. They linger there too long," laughs Jurik as he takes the reins to a pair of the thieves' abandoned horses and lead the animals back into the camp. "Goblins, troll, bandits, is there anything safe from you, Allison?" "No." Much to everyone's surprise, I discovered that one of the 8 bandits believed to have been killed is actually just unconscious. He's taken back into the camp and revived next to the fire. Immediately upon coming to his senses, the terrified man begins pleading for his life. Jurik stoops next to him and addresses him in a stern tone, telling him that he need not fear for his life. "You'll be sent on your way soon enough," he says, his demeanor softening somewhat. "First, I want to know what made a ramshackle band of glorified tavern brawlers think they can make off with horses of an armed company twice their size. Can't be the smartest notion you've had recently." What the man says in response sends everyone within earshot into a hysterical fit of laughter. "Pardon the mistake, good sir," said the man, his lips trembling as he fights to get the words out, "but we had heard a group of minstrels were moving up this way, and we'd been waiting a day to come upon them. We thought, in all honesty, you were them." "What the heck is a minstrel?" It's a short chapter, sorry. The bandits is escorted to the edge of the road, and his horse is given back to him. It promptly mounts the animal and rides off to the saddle, not once looking back. "Minstrels?" Jurik shakes his head and looks at you with a puzzled expression. "Minstrels?" he says. "We've been mistaken for wild men, highwaymen, even border rangers on occasion, but never minstrels. It's just a little distressing." Sit back down next to the fire, hoping that the rest of the night will pass without incident, allowing you to rest the rest you so desperately seek. As you drift off to sleep, you are comforted by one thought, that minstrels, if they are indeed somewhere along this road, have little to worry about with that particular band of bandits. What's a minstrel? I still don't know. Alright. Part 4, Tooth and Claw. Sleep won't come easy. Wow, they won't let me sleep, huh? How rude. The desperate shouts of 2 men on watch failed to pierce your dreams, but a rough shake from Rio wakes you with a start. Weary and mildly disoriented, you scramble to your feet to find the camp is under attack. The huntsmen of Jiri's company are engaged in a fierce battle against a large group of two-legged, vaguely humanoid wolf creatures. The grotesque men that savagely assail the encampment are all extremely emaciated, with patches of mangy fur clinging to their tightly drawn, festering hides. Rio shouts a warning to you as he moves to intercept two of the horde creatures, and you turn to find yourself face to face with one of the ravenous wolfmen. The vicious beast crouches down and springs for your throat, or he's dead. No sooner have you dispatched the vicious wolf clan, you looks for another terrifying creature bounding towards you. How about telekinesis? Powerful projection force leaves your body and smashes into the bounding wolfkin, stopping the terrifying creature in its tracks and sitting it sprawling to the ground. It walks forward and attacks the vicious beast before it can regain its feet. The wolfkin snarls and strikes out with its deadly claws as it attempts to fend off your frenzied attack. Sorry, dead. Suddenly find yourself confronted by three of the vicious wolfkin. Your savage holds two of them, foaming at the mouth, rapidly closing and surrounding you. All they're dead. Rush to the aid of Rio and Tambo, who find themselves beleaguered by six of the wolfkin. They engage at the edge of the camp. Upon your arrival, you quickly become the target of two of the vicious wolf creatures, who are now dead. A victory cry grows up through the camp as the remaining wolfkin, still numbering close to a dozen, flee into the forest, quickly becoming lost in the night's deep gloom. Several of the huntsmen have been wounded in the fight, and a couple of them quite seriously. While they attended to, Jiri strides up and asks for your assessment of what just occurred. For the first time since you met him, his unflappable demeanor seems to be somewhat shaken. Before you have a chance to respond, Tanvar strides up and says something that changes everything. A sinking feeling rises in the pit of your stomach as the words leave your lip. Brecken is missing, he says, addressing Jiri directly. The wolfkin have him. What? It is immediately decided the two parties will be sent in to rescue the young woodsman, if indeed he managed to somehow survive his captor's savagery. Jiri sends you, Tanvar, and Riel off as one party, while he and two others head off as the second. The remainder of his company is ordered to stay in the camp, tending to the wounded and keeping watch over the horses. No more than an hour, cautions Jiri as you prepare to depart. We'll meet back here in an hour, whether we have our men or not. And be wary for trolls, and like today we are hunters, but it's a different story when the sun goes down. No further words exchanged as the two small parties plunge into the dark void. Wow. Where's Brecken? Have we met Brecken? Because I don't recall. The three of you have little difficulty finding and following the track left by the departed wolfkin. Less than a mile from the camp, you're moving along the back of the steep rise when you spot a large group of wolf creatures loping along the forest below. You count 13 of the loathsome creatures, and though you see no sign of Brecken amongst them, decide that the three of you will move to intercept and ambush them. Hurry now, hisses Tanvaj, or which the trees will strike as they come by the bottom of this hill. At the base of the hill, the three of you consider yourselves in the thick undergrowth, waiting on bated breath for the wolfkin to arrive. When the first of the four vicious creatures leap into view, Tanvar and Riel sumptuously break cover, charging into the open to assail the surprised enemy. Let's hit archery. You can shoulder your bow and prepare to notch an arrow, waiting for more than wolfkin to come to view. As Riel and Tanvar step to the first four creatures, a group of six suddenly appear and bounce rapidly towards your embattled companions. Remarkable speed and accuracy, you lose 3 arrows at the newly arrived batch of wolfmen. 2 were instantly cut down by your deadly missiles. The third staggers forward and the shaft lodges in the midsection, but is quickly dispatched by Tanvar. You shoulder your bow and emerge from the undergrowth, only to suddenly find yourself confronted by 3 snarling wolfkin. The vicious creatures tear at you with tooth and claw as you struggle to gain the upper hand in a brutal melee. Now they're dead. You collapse to the ground with the last of your wolfkin, having been knocked off balance by the final blow. Tanvar and Rio rush to your side and hoist you back onto your feet. Tanvar is smiling broadly. Not so bad then, he says, looking over the corpse of the 13 slain wolfkin. No Brecken, but a good number have been gone for good. They're heading east when we came upon them, says Rio, and we best be off that way. It's best we have to go on. All in agreement, the 3 of you set out in the east, hoping that you'll find something that will lead you to the missing huntsman, and that should you find him, it will not be too late. I hope so too. Past the scene of your encounter with the large group of wolfkin, it becomes difficult to find any further sign of the creature. You, Tanvar, and Riel scour the forest without success, and about to abandon the search when Chandra Catman suddenly Riel stops and holds up his hand. The faint scent of wood smoke drifts to the night breeze, and the 3 of you find your hope renewed, if only slightly. Never heard of wolfkin to build fires, says Riel, but I don't see what else we've got to go on. Ogres like fires now and again. You controls ready, so stay at the ready. The three of you set off without delay, following your nose as you head in the direction of the pungent smoke. You are the first to spot a flickering flame in the trees ahead, and you immediately signal for your companions to stop. The three of you assume your movement after several seconds, creeping forward, keeping the glow. Watch for the fire in front of you as you go. From behind, a stand ovation hovers. You, Tanba, and Riel observe the fire from a distance about 20 yards. Behind the blaze, almost invisible against the dark patch of the forest and the wide mouth of the cave. You are all summarily shocked to find that seated around the fire, three humans. Tanba wraps on your shoulder and stabs his finger in the air in front of you, pointing directly at the man seated in the far right of the three before the fire. In a tone that expresses a deep sense of dread, he tells you and Riel that the man he's pointed out is none other than Brecken. Riel gasps and stares hard at the figure Tanva has indicated and slowly nods in agreement. Well, what's we made of this? Whispers Riel, shaking his head in disbelief. Before anyone can answer, your eyes are drawn to the mouth of the cave. Just beyond the fire, a group of 5 wolfkin emerge from it and lop off into the forest. This bodes ill. A bad feeling about all this. What happens next leaves the three of you speechless. What is it? What is it, man? Jeez. Now we got a Benedict Arnold. On my own. Oh, you gotta keep going. Brecken's on their side. We just read it. A group of 7 wolfkin, led by a particularly large member of the savage species, lops into view out of the forest gloom, dragging bodies of 3 men behind them. You hear your heart nearly leaps into your throat when you realize the bodies of Jiri and his 2 men. Tanvar, whose face betraying no sign of emotion, stares hard at the wolf creatures hold the bodies in the cave. When they've gone, Brecken and 2 other humans rifles and seat next to the fire make their way into the lair. Dark-clad wolfkin. They were alive. But it's Tanvar, referring to Jiri and the 2 huntsmen. Real nods in agreement. Whatever devil is cooked up in there for them won't come to pass. I'll paint these woods with the blood of every last one before that happens. Tanvar asks you and Riel what to make of Brecken and the other 2 humans. You confess you're not sure what to make of it, but you suggest that perhaps the young huntsman isn't under some sort of mind control. Foul magic always surrounds creatures like these, says Tanvar. If he's prepared to agree with your conjecture, you might be onto something else, and whatever the case, we need to get them out of there. The 3 of you agree that the only way to free your companions from the clutches of the savage wolfkin is to venture into the cave and defeat the creatures in what appears to be their lair. I've never seen Jiri so much as winded, says Riel, nervously gripping the hilt of his sword. As the 3 of you I'd have to say I don't like the prospect of running into whatever it was that put him and the others down, not one bit. You're within 10 strides of the entrance, and there was suddenly a large group of humanoid wolf creatures rush out of the darkness and attack. 8 wolfmen led the charge, while behind them ups a large wolfkin you saw into the cave only a few minutes ago. Tanva and Riel brazenly hold their ground against the impending onslaught. How about elementalism? We haven't used that yet. A deafening roar rises into the sky as a powerful fire elemental appears out of the flames of the campfire and surges forward, slamming into the charging wolfkin. The vicious creatures are instantly reduced to piles of cinder. The elemental begins rapidly retreating back into the campfire. A grim snarl serves to remind you that the large wolfkin still remains. An intimidating beast, at least a foot taller than the rest of his kin, gnashes its teeth and glares at you 2 companions. You prepare to confront the foul creature, but much to your surprise, it quickly turns and disappears into the shadowy interior of the cave. Tim returns to his face ashy without a word. He takes a swipe at you with his sword. Billy dodges a swift attack. What? You prepare to fear yourself against his inexplicable aggression. Riel crosses his arm and watches the unfolded scene with no signs of motion. His face is pallid as Tanvar. You no wish to harm Tanvar as you fear that he and Riel have fallen under the spell of the same foul magic that likely ensnared Brecken. You're merely trying to subdue their stricken companion. Yes, subdue. We don't want to kill him. We gotta subdue the other one now. Tanvar regains his feet, following his feet, and he and Riel turn to move quickly into the cave and are lost from sight. The grim realization that you're now alone on the doorstep of a powerful unknown enemy starts to sink in, and for an instant you float the idea of returning to camp to investigate the rest of the company. However, no, can't do that. He'll just turn the rest of them against you. Realize that wasting your time, you endanger the lives of those taken by the Wolfkin, if indeed they're still alive. Determined to do all you can to save them from the clutch of the Wolfkin and whatever else might lurk within you, step boldly into the shadowy interior of the cave. That's right. We step boldly alone into danger to save those we know and love. Why is it always me? That's like Neville says. Why is it always me? Rescue in the dark. Making your way through the cave layer is more difficult than you'd ever imagine. The twisting passages are continually intersecting each other, all beginning to look the same. After only a short while, you're not entirely certain you could even find your way out. As you find yourself in a broad passage that seems to continue in one direction, following this passage, you cautiously press on, every sense alert for the first sign of danger as you search for the captured huntsman. You continue on your present course until you arrive at the fork in the passage, staring in the dark along each new length of time, and you wonder which you should choose. Woodsmanship. You closely examine the floor of the cave for any sign that might lead you in the direction of the Wolfkin of the captives. You are now certain the passage you should take is the one that falls to the right. To the right it is! Proceed cautiously on the passage, confident that you are on the right track. Till your present close to you arrive at the fork. Woodsmanship it is. Better keep going right then. Keep going. The sudden sound of movement along the passage reaches you in your tracks. Ahead of you, the shadows stir as a group of dark shapes begin to emerge from the gloom. A group of 4 wolfkin emerge from the gloom ahead and immediately rush forward and attack. Or they're dead. Following your victory, you spend a few minutes resting and checking your equipment. When you manage to catch your breath, you once again set off along the passage. Okay, another choose. Woodsmanship some more. To the left, to the left. Everything you want, man. Out of you, shadows stirs. More wolfkin. Quick combat. Let's keep going. Let's use divination this time. Going right. Yes, more wolfkin. How many are in here? More divination. Going more left. The passage you're following ends abruptly in a tall arch that leads to a wide, semicircular chamber. Soft yellow glow fills the room, emanating from the tip of the wind staff, held by a broad-shouldered man clad in a chain shirt. Can at least a dozen wolfkin, including the very large specimen you encounter outside the cave. There's no sight of any huntsman, and you're about to turn and slink back down the passage to continue your search when you're startled by a grim snarl. You turn around to find 5 wolfkin creeping through the gloom. Their ravenous stares fixed on you as they prepare to strike. Boldly, you assume a defensive stance and prepare to counter the imminent attack. Dead. The man holding the staff sneezes and summons a large wolfkin. Without a word, he points you in the direction the terrified beast that towards you, closing in an alarming rate. Archery. The bounding wolfkin is less than 5 yards. When you release your shot, the feathered shaft whistles through the air and strikes the fearsome creature right above his midsection, causing it to stumble in howls of pain. Wasting no time, you rush forward to attack the wounded wolfkin. Dead. Leap of the carcass of the masked wolfkin and stride boldly into the chamber, determined to confront the scaffolding foe and discover what has happened to your companions. I have no time to play with you right now. He sneers as he levels his wooden staff at you. The crackle of energy fills the room as a thick tine of amber lightning explosions of the staff and arcs in the air towards you. Mortification. The lightning smashes into your hastily summoned magical barrier and is quickly and harmlessly absorbed. Your staff-wielding foe curses and hurls a second bolt of lightning in your direction. Again, his sack distorted by the sparkling field that hovers before you. You will be dealt with, says the man. He takes a step back and closes his eyes. You watch in horror as a terrifying transformation comes over your staff-wielding foe. His skin begins to ripple, and thick tufts of hair sprouts from every inch of his exposed flesh. His face, now covered with hair, broadens and thickens until he is no longer recognizable as human. In a matter of moments, the man is completely transformed into wolfkin. So clad in his chainmail suit and tightly gripping his wooden staff, he snarls viciously. The fancy wolfkin in the chamber spring forward and attack. You quickly retreat to the arch, where you're overtaken by the first fall. And another 4. And then 5. Now we're left with old boy. The chamber now stands empty. The man with the staff who transformed the wolfkin is nowhere to be seen. Quick search of the room, and much to your dismay, discover no sign of any of the huntsmen. On the far side of the room, a sizable crack in the cave wall opens into a broad, downward-sloping passage. Reasonably certain that it is through this fissure the man must have escaped. You squeeze into the passage beyond and get to slow and cautious descent. Whoever and whatever this new enemy proves to be, you're sure that he's behind whatever wicked scheme is brewing here. Most importantly, You have little doubt that he knows the whereabouts and status of your missing companions. You pray that you will find them in time. Yes, I pray I will find them in time. Alright. We're on to the shocking encounter. Let's go. I know what happened last time. Move cautiously along the passage. As it continues its gradual descent, after 20 yards or so, the tunnel abruptly turns to the right and levels out. You are only starting along this link path with a long arch of lightning streaks out of the darkness ahead, hurtling towards you. This guy is relentless. Fortifications. A lurid yellow light suddenly fills the passage, revealing the broad-shouldered, chain-clad man you encountered only a few minutes ago. He now stands less than 10 yards away from you, no longer in his transformed state. A pale light emanates from the glowing tip of his tall wooden staff, and he regards you with a derisive stare. Maybe you are also a worthy specimen, he says coldly. That's easy enough to ascertain. He reaches up and fingers a copper medallion dangling from the chain in his neck, and a stabbing pain shoots through your head, and it feels like you're losing control of your thoughts. No! Thank you. Only a split second to react, you dive to the ground as a bolt of lightning streaks all along the passage. Get him! Managed to clear the hurtling lightning bolt. The man curses and properly extinguishes the light from his stab as he proceeds into the gloom of the passage and disappears. You're about to start after him when a series of vicious snarls erupt from the shadows ahead. How many wolfkin does this guy have? Or he can just make more. Cause, jeez, hopefully none of these my fan. 7 wolfkin lie dead at your feet, but there's little time to dwell on your victory. A pair of towering wolf creatures emerge from the gloom ahead and start towards you. Realizing you're the only viable option to hold is to hold your ground and face the beast. You firmly plant your feet and prepare to engage them. The first large wolfkin rushes you. I'm getting hurt. Hey, rejuvenation, that's what we like to see. And the second one. Having survived the brutal onslaught, you spend a few minutes catching your breath and wiping the blood of your enemy from your face and hands. Weary of the fatigue of battle and wary of the notion that even greater danger likely lies ahead, you set off along the passage in pursuit of your elusive staff-wielding foe. Maybe you're also a worthy specimen. The eerie words of your unknown enemy resonate clearly in your mind, though you do not allow yourself to abandon the hope that you'll find your companions. You can help wonder if you've already suffered a fate. They've already suffered a fate which they cannot be recalled. Sad. What if I'd lost my mind there? Would the game be over? Would I have had to start over or something? I just don't know how long this will be, so I don't want to. Alright, let's keep going. Your steady but cautious pace along the wide, almost level cave passage slows to a halt as you approach what can only be something your staff-wielding foe has left to block your pursuit. A crackling field of energy in the likeness of a large spider web stretches from one side of the passage to the other. There doesn't seem to be any way around this menacing object. Hey, you haven't used Arcana before. Arcana. You put your magic ability and your master of Arcana to use. After much toil, you are able to effectively weaken the power of the magical snare with a clever counter spell. Hey! Have to fight the web of energy? Not cool. The fate hits, the web of energy suddenly dissipates. Remaining poised, half expecting a return, but after several moments you relax your guard and prepare to continue on your way. Having successfully gotten past the web of energy, you once again set off along the passage, wondering what new dangers lurk in the gloom ahead. Okay, so this seemed relatively quick. The progress along the passage is again halted as a horrifying sight emerges from the gloom ahead. You take 2 steps back and assume a defensive stance as a detached floating arm. His gloved hand brandishing an axe streak out of the shadows and bears down at you, swinging his weapon wildly. Okay, illusion. Illusion himself appears next to you in the hand, slows his approach, apparently confused by the sudden implication of his target. Wasting time, you leap forward and attack the ghastly blow. Oh, this is funny. The hand quickly counters your tag, wielding its shield with an alarming high level of skill. I know about axes, though. No sooner as you finish the arm, the second one flies at the groom and attacks. It's just an arm. Axe wielding arm. How odd. Very, very odd. You remain in battle ready stance for nearly a minute, praying that you have seen the last of the floating arms. When it becomes apparent that it's sort of last over, you once again assume your cautious trek along the passage. Alright, short ones, this is good. Like a wave of water. A deep rumble suddenly shakes the passage and you struggle to maintain your balance as a towering wave of flames rolls out of the gloom ahead and surges towards you. The wall of fire is nearly, is it fiend fire? Is in half as wide as the passage and moving from side to side. As it closes in on you, it doesn't appear to be dodging the massive mass fire would be an easy task. Well, elementalism. Because we'll just turn it off. You manage to quell much of the flames' wave's fury. Wave now greatly diminished in size, rushes past and spins in the shadows of the passage behind you. In the wake of the encounter with the wave of flame, you once again set up along the passage, now more determined than ever to discover what awaits you at its eventual end. That's right. We want to know what's at the end. It's the rock. The rock's at the end. You've gone less than a dozen yards when the entire passage begins to shake. Your knees nearly buckle as the floor heaves and large chunks of stone begin to break up the walls and ceiling. An ear-shattering crack sounds above. You find a massive slab of rock plummeting towards you. Destruction. Call upon your Neville power and focus its destructive fury on the falling slab. Almost without a sound, the massive piece of stone crumbles into countless tiny particles of rubble that rain down harmlessly around you. Despite the harrowing events of the last several minutes, you've taken consolation in the fact that the snares that were obviously intended to prevent you from following your unknown enemy have failed. More cautious than ever, you proceed slowly along the passage, steadily, lastly trailing your deadly foe and searching for any signs of the missing huntsman. Alright. A bit of an early one again. But I don't know how long the dome chamber will take, so I don't want to go past 30 minutes too far. So we're going to end a little bit early again. Thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. You know what I'm going to say. Peace.